Well, hello everybody. How you doing? Dave Fenoy here. It is a Wednesday, and of course that means Ask Dave Fenoy anything. Also want to remind you, tomorrow I'll be doing another webinar, but this one will be on GoToWebinar. It's absolutely free, and if you can find where I posted this earlier today, you'll find the link, and I'll post it again tomorrow. So it'll be seen on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and Instagram. I've started to up my Instagram game. Hey, how you doing? Ferris, what's going on? Kevin, Michael, how are you? Eric Glover, Bill Holmes, Mukti, Pamela, Virginia Watson. Hey, Verge. Couple things that I wanted to talk about. I was reading some things today from some other voice actors, and somebody had mentioned talking to his agent that their agent was getting people just showing up at the agency, walking past, or running past, pushing past reception and going into the voiceover area and starting to do voices. Just starting to, do different voices, cartoon voices, video game voices, imitating presidents and actors, and thinking that that was going to be the way to wow them into signing them. And of course it didn't work. It didn't work. So, and I know the old saying, rules were made to be broken, but first you got to kind of know the rules. Nobody's going to go for that. Same thing when you're just sending your demo. I've talked about this before. It needs to be in the right form, and it needs to sound right. There is a certain expectation of what people have. And that brings up a further conversation about creativity. There are people who will tell you that creativity, don't restrain me, don't make me put it in this form, it robs me of my creativity. But the truth of the matter is, creativity always lives in a box. Maybe a small box, maybe a medium-sized box, maybe a big box, but it lives within a box. You may be able to go a little bit outside the line sometimes, but there is form with art. If you look at a movie script, there is a form, and every good movie script falls into that form, and the creativity has to happen within that form. Same thing with your demo. The creativity must be there, but it must fall into the form. If it's falling well into the form, maybe you can stretch the box a little bit. If you look at my game demo, one, I need to update it because there's a lot more characters I need to get on there that I've done in the last 2 or 3 or 4 years. But there's an introduction and there's an end on it. Well, I can get away with that because I've been doing this for so long. I'm a known quantity. People aren't usually booking me from my demo tape. They're booking me from my auditions or reputation. And even if they do, they're probably watching my demo because let's check out this Dave Fenoy guy. I heard he's does a lot of games, blah, 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 blah. But when you're at that beginning of your career, you're in the middle of your career, you haven't made quite the name for yourself that you want to make and that you may make. You got to play a little bit more by the rules. And the rules you can break, it's not really breaking a rule. As a matter of fact, it's a rule you should pay attention to, and that is being you. You are the secret sauce of your career. And I know you've heard me say that again before, and you'll hear me say it again. You are the secret sauce of your career. Like great musicians, they'll listen to the musicians that came before them. They'll learn their licks, but ultimately they make them their own. You may be able to play in a lot of different styles as a musician, but there's something about you that you let come through that makes it different than anybody else. And once again, that's what's going to make you successful when you work hard, is you are the secret sauce. All right, enough about sauce. It's 6 o'clock and I'm getting hungry. Let's see. Hi, thanks. Happy Easter. Oh, yeah, happy Easter. Easter's coming up. And advice for someone saving up for their first demo. You know, demos are expensive. The only demos I do are video game demos, but it's $2,500, and that's in the ballpark with everybody else. You might find some people doing demos for about $1,500 on the low end to about $3,500 or even more. But your demo, if it's a good demo, you're going to earn that money back fairly quickly. So you want to make sure that your demo is right. So you're asking about saving up for your demo. Look at the things that you do on a daily basis. How often do you stop by Starbucks or Pete's or something, get a cup of coffee? Make the coffee at home. How often do you eat out? Fix a sandwich at home. Eat dinner at home. Save up in those kinds of ways. You go to the movies every week. Maybe sometimes you have to give up something to get something. So often it's just effort and time. So in this case, it's things that cost money. Stop splurging on this. Don't buy that new pair of shoes. Don't buy that shirt. Something that you don't really need. Just because you want it doesn't mean you need it. But you are going to need that demo. So start putting it away that way. All right. Ferris, and when you make comments to something I say, like Ferris Moore here, you said, that's really messed up. What's really messed up? Tell me, to mention the comment, because I've been running my mouth here. I don't remember exactly what it was I said that you might think was messed up. Mark Marino, have you started working on Spider-Man PS4 sequel or the overdue Arkham Origin sequel? Happy Easter, by the way. Mark, thank you very much for your question. I typically don't talk about the stuff that I'm doing. This is about you and getting your career. But no and no. Spider-Man just came out, so I don't know that there is going to be a sequel. It's not a year old yet, is it? An Arkham Origin sequel? Not that I know of. But unfortunately, they don't just call me first and say, Dave, we just wanted to let you know that we're going to be doing this sequel and we'd like you to be a part of it. And can you keep it quiet, though? And no, I just haven't heard yet. Hey, Randy Morrison, what's going on? Which reminds me, Connection Open is still a thing. Try it out. Connection Open. You're going to love it. Michael, do you produce VO demos? I mentioned before I do. The only ones I do are video game demos, though. But if you don't know who you want to go to for your commercial or other demo, I'm happy to recommend a few people. Mark Preston, good evening, Dave and Minnie. Oh, thank you. The free webinar tomorrow, will you be able to re-watch for people with different time zones? I live in the UK and will be roughly 2 a.m. You know what? Yeah, you will. I'll be recording it and I'll throw it up on my YouTube channel. So it'll be there. Along with a bunch of other YouTube. All of these go up on the YouTube channel as well. And then, of course, if you're on Facebook, you can scroll. Oh, there it is. And find it, one of these, and watch it again. But again, tomorrow, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific, free webinar. We're going to cover video games. We're going to cover narration. We're going to cover TV promos. And we're going to cover how to read copy in general. How can you take somebody else's words and make them your own? What are some of the techniques to find your voice and sound natural and you reading copy? All right. Oh, thank you, Angela. Hey, Linda, how are you? Lena Manila. Lanny, how are you? Seth, Roland. Okay, Bruce D. Richardson, authentic me. Thanks. I keep hearing it in other industries. I'm starting to get it, I think. I've made over $60,000 on Fiverr over the last 2 years. Upwork, Guru, Direct, Voices.com need more incoming dinero. I've queried a few agents with no real bites. I keep wondering if I'm not there yet. Not a discerning audience, but I think I am. Patience Danielson. You know, it's work. It's continue. I don't even, I've been doing this a long time, and I don't take it for granted. I don't take that just the years of experience and doing it are enough, that I always have to, really listen back to my auditions and go, do I believe it? Is that working? Do I really know who I am and who I'm talking to? You can't take it for granted. Sometimes you're busy, or you're just getting well, and you do it and moving on, and hopefully counting on your experience, and sometimes that carries you through. But never, ever get to the point where you just think you've got it all and you don't need to learn anything else, and there's no room for improvement. There always is. And let's see. Well, thank you, Hugh. Joshua Story, do demo engineers, like good old Chuck, aid in putting together the script for the demo, or do you need to come with your own? I know he usually likes to have a little pre-meeting first. Of course he's going to have a pre-meeting first. And yes, if your demo producer isn't helping you with the scripts, they're not doing their job. Oftentimes what you find is you've been working with a coach, and your coach tells you, I think you're ready for your demo now. And these are some of the things that I think would work for you. These are some of the areas, the styles that would work for you. And they may suggest Chuck, they may suggest J. Michael Collins, there are any number of people that they might suggest. And they might send you with some copy. But once you get to a Chuck or J. Michael, and they begin to understand who you are, because you got to have that discussion. What are your strengths? Who is it that you're really selling? Because you want to get your signature voice in there. They're going to help you find the right kind of copy to do your demo. And if they're not doing their job. Jeff Burns, depends on the producer and the process. Yeah, there are people, I'm sure, that will allow you to bring in your own copy and do it. And if you've worked with a coach long enough, and with your coach, you've picked out the right copy, or you just happen to be that good that you really have picked things that are going to work for you. Hope you're right. You might go in that way, but chances are whoever it is producing that demo for you, they're going to have probably a session of a practice session before they do it. Just saying. Ferris Moore, so sorry, the agency thing. Someone burst into an agent's office making voices, gets noticed in the wrong way. Absolutely. And of course, you'll never be able to go back to that agent again. I've seen this too many times. People who they get an idea that they want to do voiceover, and then they ignore all the bountiful information that is out there about what this industry is like, what this industry expects, who the people are in the industry that can help you. People will decide, well, I'm not going to spend any money because I don't trust anybody, and I'm going to do it my way, and they don't bother to go to a talent agency for voiceover and listen to some of those demos and ask themselves questions. Well, let's see what's on these demos. There's commercial demos, and there's some narration demos, and there's some TV promo demos, and there's some animated demos, and there's some video game demos. I'm just going to do a little of everything on my one demo. Big mistake. nobody wants to hear the other genres in the thing they're doing. If they're producing commercials, they don't care about TV promos. If they're doing TV promos, they don't care about animation. If they're doing animation, they really don't care about video games. I'm sorry. There's certain things that the industry demands of you. Just like going to college, there's certain things you got to knock off that you're going to need to graduate. There's some electives, but if you want to graduate in a particular discipline, you're going to need the prerequisites to get in, and the courses that you have to check off before you get out. Anyway, all right, Hugh, you're going to be there tomorrow. Excellent. Rolando Watts, love you, baby. Jerry Gale, what's going on, man? Be there or be square. I love it. Adam Brown, Jeff Burns, I'll ask something. What do you find is the best way for getting out of your head when dealing with difficult copy or a genre of VO you might not be used to? That can be tough. Sometimes you just have to have the conversation with yourself of stop worrying about it, just do it. Couple things you can do. One, take a little dose of reality. This is something you've never done before. This is something I'm not comfortable with. Okay, chances are it's not going to be as good as I would like it to be, but I'm going for it. And then let it go. Then you don't have that, oh God. A buddy of mine who teaches voice acting for video games as well, Zach Hanks, great guy, good teacher. I was talking to a student that we share, that the student had been to VO Atlanta this year and done his workshop. And he says, yeah, he had the 1, 2, 3, fuck it method. And I said, well, what is that? I said, the 1, 2, 3, fuck it. And he says, yeah, when you're into something that you think you're really going to be in your head, just count 1, 2, 3, fuck it, and then jump in. And he said that works. I'll give you another thing that I like better than that, and although, I may try it. A lot of times, and I think this will work for beyond video games, because a lot of commercial work is actually character work like video games are too. You still have to know who you are, who you're talking to, how you feel about the product, what your worldview is. Or you are really playing a character, even if that character is you. And why do I have a fly flying around my studio? You're really playing a character. What is your character's inner dialogue? Okay, these are the words your character's saying, but what's your character thinking and feeling beyond just saying these words? And if you concentrate on that, let that inner dialogue of the character come through, let that be the thing on your mind, as opposed to, gee, did I say that word correctly? Oh, here comes that word I'm not sure how to pronounce. Here's those two words that don't go together very well. And instead of having all that up there, think about the why of what you're saying as opposed to how of what you're saying. All right. What's up, brother Logan? My man, checking you out. I was thinking about you today, Logan. We're going to have to give you a call. Lisa Thompson, thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. You are welcome. Hugh, had the privilege to work with you a couple of years ago at Bill DeWeese's seminar weekend. Learned a lot. Thank you, Hugh. I appreciate that. Chris Lewis, what's up, man? Angela H. Strother-Smith, thanks so much for taking the time to do this day. Blessings. I appreciate that. Randy Thomas. What's up, Randy? There you go, telling it like it is. Thank you. And if you don't know Randy Thomas, you ought to know she is some of the best of us. You have heard her on a million things, the Academy Awards. What was it? Hooked on Phonics years ago. Eric Romanowski, what's going on, man? And speaking of demos and somebody to help, Eric Romanowski. Retna, how are you? And Jeff Burns, sounds like a Charlie Adler method. Another good person to study with, especially for animation. As a matter of fact, that's what you would study with Charlie Adler. And if you don't know who he is just an amazing animation voice and teacher and crazy man that you can learn a ton from. David Harvey, hey man, was a pleasure meeting you at Pensacola Comic-Con. Wow, was it 2-3 years ago? I really got, I recently, I'm not sure, RRCNETKY, I'm not sure what that means. Recently got in a car accident, but been losing weight. Look forward to seeing you at Dragon Con. That's right, I'll be at Dragon Con this year. So that is Memorial Day weekend. Yeah. Michael Sessoms, how often do you have sessions with your voice coach, or is it just special situations that you work with them? I don't have them that often because I'm so busy. But every now and then, and it's not so much a voice coach, but every now and then I might want to take somebody's workshop that I know, respect, just to break some habits. I saw a thing with Will Smith a while back, and Will Smith, of course, movie star, but some might say not always actor. And Will was talking about being that movie star and those things that he did that worked, and the laugh and the looks and the rhythms of Will Smith, the movie star. And the director for Pursuit of Happiness said, look, I want you in this movie, man, but I don't want any of those Willisms. I don't want any of those things that have worked for you throughout your career. And a lot of times as a voice actor, you run into that you have to let go of some things that have been working for you in some other area, some other genre, or even the genre that you're working in, but it's moved ahead. And now what you're talking about doing is out of style. Sometimes we have to learn new things. Sometimes we have to learn a new way to be us. So allow yourself to be open to that because the world moves on. Now, that doesn't mean that, somebody in their 50s is going to suddenly start sounding like a millennial. That's not going to happen. Every 10 years or so, the rhythm of how people speak changes. The newer generation claims the language and the rhythms of it for themselves, and they speak it the way they speak it. But that doesn't mean there aren't some other areas, some other rhythms, some other ways of connecting to copy that you can't improve. And Jeff, remember to turn off the part of your brain that's listening and judging and read it laying down. Jerry, so true, so true, so true. One of the worst things we can do is that little thing. And this that I'm doing now, when I'm coaching people, a lot of times, look, I heard the read, it was pretty good, but I knew you were in your head. I could hear the questions. I could see it on your face. Whatever you're thinking, whatever's in there, whatever you're feeling emotionally, is going to come through. I remember VoiceOver 101 talking about substitution. Say you're doing a car commercial and Yugo still pops into my mind, and you feel like the Yugo is caca. Well, unless you address that with yourself beforehand, that judgment is going to come out. Now, the people listening to your audition may not understand exactly what's wrong with your read, but something's going to be wrong with your read that they're going to hear. Sometimes it's just substitution. Well, I'm gonna substitute Ford or Mercedes, Lexus, whatever it is that you like every time you say that word. And this works for food. I don't eat at McDonald's, but I will do their commercials. I will take their money, and I will do a substitution of something else, so that my judgment about it doesn't come through. All right. Jeff Burns, I was just about to bring up your great coaching, Jerry. Oh, yeah. Jerry Gelb, also good coach. Been around a while. Dave Harvey, I don't expect you to remember me at all. Traveling from Atlanta was worth it. Didn't expect to meet you after that. Oh, yeah, that was because I wasn't there this year, so that was a couple years ago, a year or so ago. Michael Roberts, hey, love to do a session with you. Okay. Easy to do. Go to my website, davefenoy.com. There's a tab at the top, Study VO, and you can book yourself. You can do one, you can book five. Of course, you save money if you book five. And this happens from time to time. Somebody will book 5 or 10. And again, I wasn't able to book all the dates for all. And look, if you book 5, you can book the first one. And then as we go, we'll go next week at this time or 2 weeks or however we're going to do it. And you always have to understand that I am a working actor. And sometimes things come up just like they come up for you. I'm not the guy that, sometimes I'm a little pushed for time. So we're right at the minute. Got to go because I got another student behind you or got another session. But other than that, I'm pretty casual. If we go over a couple of minutes, that's okay. If you have to cancel before too long, believe me, I've got something to do. I don't, no, I'm sorry, you didn't give me 24 hours notice, so I got to take your money and not give you anything. Don't work that way. Octavius Davis joined. Lila, how are you? And you're going to be hearing a lot from Lila Berzins over the years, really fine talent. My phone double worded, my bad, okay. I know I get that all the time too, and I'm trying to, I got big thumbs, so that's my problem. Christopher Lewis, got a question for you, Dave. Got an audition for a museum exhibition narration from my agent about a year and change ago. Did it, moved on. Got the gig, shot a year later. Did it, mixed on, great gig, local studio, good time out. It's been about 5 months or so. Should I invoice? Oh, you haven't been paid. And this came through your agent. Well, your agent is the first person to go after him. If it was a union gig, I hope it was, then the union should go after him. Got an audition. Did it come through your agent? Yeah, narration from my agent. Yeah, get your agent on that. I'm surprised your agent hasn't already been on that. They've got a whole accounting department. But remind them, get your money, man. Get your money. Tara, how are you? And, I'm happy to have so many students pop in, people I've worked with and doing well. And nice working with you again, Tara. Gainus Mark Grau, join my boy. We going for coffee? When we going for coffee, man? Joshua Story, the wife is pulling me away. Then it's back to the studio. Dave, thanks for your continued words of wisdom. Until next time. And by the way, I saw Mark has I don't remember the date, Mark, so forgive me, but Mark has a workshop coming up. It's basically anime for video games. Localization is what we call it. A lot of games, and I've done a number of localization things. It's not nearly as fun as when you get to create the character and you do it in your own time, but it pays. So localization is in a video game, kind of like anime, and it was done in another country, in another language, and now they are translating it into English, and in you go, and you're looking at the picture, and you have to match the lip flap and the timing of the character. So not only do you have to get into character and be that character, but now you have to do it pretty much in the rhythm of the actor in another language that came before you. It really is anime for video games, and I guess anime really is Japanese, but you understand. All right. And anyway, Mark is doing a localization workshop. If you put it on there, Mark, if you're still with us, I'll mention when it is. Thomas, should new demos be done every 2 to 3 years? At least. I'm guilty of not doing it. And actually, a lot of people I know who work a lot, had a career for a long time, are guilty because we get busy, we forget, and you realize, wow, 5 years have gone by and I haven't updated my demos. Christopher Lewis, you go. I think you dated both of us. Yeah. I don't know. There were so many Yugo jokes. And Isabella Tugman, hey, how are you? Alvin. TC, cuz, What's up, man? How you doing? Jeff Burns, that sounds like what my friend Nina did with you last year. Okay, yeah. Jerry Hauser, oh man, talk about greats from back in the day. Jerry Hauser, hey Dave, what a treat to see you. We never get to see each other anymore. You sound great as always, valuable info for everyone. Be well, my friend. God bless you. God bless you back, Jerry. Jerry Hauser, on-camera actor, staple of voiceover, wonderful young voice. He probably could still play 20-something. And we used to run into each other back in the day when people showed up at studios and actually did work. Nice to hear from you, Jerry. Dave Padilla, wow. Is it Oh Home Week or something? Is this my life flashing before me? I'm not going to die, am I? Dave Padilla, dropping nuggets, bro. Appreciate it. Dave Padilla, when I was a disc jockey in San Francisco, working under the name Billy David Ocean at 107.7 KSOL, Dave Padilla was the news guy. And we became friends. He is still one of my dearest friends in the world, although because he lives up there in the Bay Area, don't get to see him that much. But whenever I'm up there, we try to hook up. Love you, man. Best to the family. Angela H. Struthers, how do you free your inner self? If you know what I'm trying to say when doing VO, I've been told this one audition. How do you free your inner self? I'm gonna go on a long shot because say that what I think you mean is, how do you free yourself from the tyranny of words and punctuation? How do you not just have this feeling that I'm reading these words and I have to say them in this rhythm, and there's a comma pause, there's a period pause. You have to understand that writers are doing the very best that they can to write in a way that approximates human speech. They can't make it the way we speak. If you read Zora Neale Hurston, you'll find she's writing in a Southern Black dialect, doing the best she can to get the feeling of that. But most writers, that's not what you're getting. You're getting standard English or Spanish or whatever language you're reading in. You're getting standard language, written and grammatically correct. But that's not the way we speak. And words don't just follow like they do on the page. When you are a character, when you are yourself, with me sitting here talking to you, I don't know exactly what words are going to come out of my mouth. Sometimes I have a thought and I have to reach for those words. Sometimes I'm going to stumble over some words because I'm not quite sure. I had a little and what you want to do with words on a page that somebody else wrote that now you have to say is realize that they're only there to remind you of what you're saying. You're not really reading them as they are, just lying there. How would you say it? How would the character that you're looking at, that you're representing, how would they say it? What would the rhythm of their language be? What words would they not pay that much attention to? One of the big things we do is we just try to make sure that everybody is understanding everything we are saying, every word, every syllable, and that's not how human beings communicate. We throw things away. We give some other things. We pay more attention to them. We make this important, but not that. And we have to find that in the character we are and not be so stuck in the words. You'll hear me say the words are only important in that they give detail to what your character is thinking and feeling. And sometimes mumbling is exactly what your character would do. Stop asking how you should say it and how would your character say it? What's your character feeling? What's their condition? And that's not just video games or animation. That's also commercials. Now, your leeway is probably not as big with most commercials, but you're still a person talking to another person about a particular product. You want a particular reaction from them, and be that person talking to that other person to get that reaction. All right. Alvin, hey Dave, remember we got a new Balloon Man suit for the next event. Hi Dave, blush, you're too kind. No, I'm just telling the truth, baby. Just telling the truth. Will I be back in Atlanta? I will be for Dragon Con. David Harvey, in the business of everything, never let people ruin your cash. That's right. Because, I feel more artist than I feel businessman, but I still have to take care of the business. And there are people who have a little more business sense than I do, a little more mercenary than I am. I'm not saying it's good or bad. We all come in various flavors, and me, I lean more towards the art than the business, but somehow managed to do very well. But one thing I've learned about me, I can't do things for money. If I do things that I enjoy, if I do things that just, make me feel alive, the money comes. David, I'm hoping Dragon Con brings many of you from the Walking Dead game. I'm going back to school for law enforcement for about 2 years later this year. Okay, I think I'll be there. Don't know about everybody else. Jeff Burns, back in the lobby era, as Paula Tizo would put it, the lobby needs to make a comeback. Every now and then I'll stop by my agents just to show my face, or maybe it's a partner read. And there was something wonderful about the lobby era. But you know where we have our lobbies now? We have it on Facebook. We have it in our meetup groups. We have found other ways to bring ourselves together. Lord knows I used to love it when you went to your agents just about every day for some auditions. And you would see your friends there, and sometimes you'd finish on, what you doing later? Oh, man, well, let's stop and get some sushi, That doesn't happen that much. We don't see each other except here now. So I'll take this. Chrysalis, also, I'd love to talk to you about doing some courses with you. Not that he had to, but Fred Gig sent me. And Fred would like me to remind you, although I don't think he's going to be here tomorrow, again, that tomorrow, free workshop, 6 o'clock. It's going to be on GoToWebinar, and you can just find the link on, if you saw it on Twitter, or you saw it on LinkedIn, or here on Facebook, it's there. Mentioned it today, and I'll mention it. I'll show the link again tomorrow a few times. There should still be Yugo jokes. Yugo, the car doesn't. Yugo, yeah, the car doesn't. Oh, yeah, that's a good Yugo joke. David Harv, I'm heading off. Thanks again. Look forward, you guys. No question there. Thank you, Eric. Henry La Roca. In animation, are there specific techniques you use to come up with a unique out-of-the-box take two? It really depends on the character. I always feel with animation I've got more room to play. I kind of a rule of thumb. Animation leans more towards comedy. Video games lean more towards drama. Not to say that there isn't comedy in video games or drama in some cartoons, but we're going to find more wacky characters in animation than we're going to find in video games. And it's that wackiness that gives you a lot of room that you might not have in some other genres. So I'll go for the wacky. But whatever it is, I try to be true to the character. But since cartoons so often are going for the laugh, and the laugh has to be big, I'll go for the crazy character with an odd way of speaking or an odd speech impediment or something. Although you have to be careful with speech impediments these days. You get in trouble with somebody. Anyway, and make it very different than take number one. And one of the things you'll find as you roll along, sometimes you get hired because that one take was really good, but the second take was so different and so unique that, we've got some other characters. So, we're going to hire her because she can do more than one thing or two things or three things. Lanny, I wish people pronounce tour correctly. It rhymes more with lure than tour. Drives me nuts. Tour. I think I got it. Lanny Manella, fabulous talent. Also, director. Lanny, really? Tour? That's what you want to talk about today? Tour? Martin, Heath Martin, when you're in a session with a group of actors, is there a rule to avoid stepping on each other's lines if everyone is riffing? Well, unfortunately, with video games, you don't get to work that often with ensemble. I've done 3, maybe 4 in 30 years. That's changing a bit because the ensemble work I've done has been all in the last 5 years. The nature of so many lines in video games, many more lines in video games than are in animation. So they like to record you separately. In animation, kind of the rule of thumb is once the actor before you, usually you're doing your scripts in sequence. So you're starting at the top and you're going all the way through to the bottom, or beginning to end. And you don't want to step on each other's lines. So even if you are riffing, you're going to wait a little bit and then come in. So somebody might be riffing a little bit, just give them time and then come in when you know they're done. But the rule of thumb, it's not just thumb rule, it's rule. Do not step on each other's lines in animation. Now, they may mix them differently so that they are sounding like they're standing on each other's lines. You may do some walla in a video game where different characters are talking about this or excited about that or having a squabble about whatever, and everybody's talking over one another and saying certain things just to get that feeling. But on individual lines, no, do not step on anybody's lines. You give them that breath, then go. Michelle, how are you? Della, Doug, Sonny, Stefan. Is there a way to work promo trailer if you also work 9 to 5? That's going to be difficult. Especially in promo trailer, they need you when they need you. And that could be any time at the drop of a hat. If you're a network voice, you're working whenever. I think it's changed a little bit when I was a network voice for the WB or CBS, ABC. You might be coming in 11 o'clock midnight for a session because you had a spot that just got done that has to go on. And you would think, well, these are the big networks. Everything should work like a well-tuned, oiled machine. But no, things come in at the last minute. Things get changed. Some lawyer says, oh, no, you can't say it like that, or we got to take that product out or whatever. And something happens, and now can you do it at 11? Well, now we're at home. And everybody's got ISDN or IPDIDL or Source Connect or Connection Open. And so you can do it from home, but it's still when they need you. And when they need you now. And the more conveniences we have, the more they want you now. I had 3 things. I went to walk my dogs. While I was walking my dogs, I got 2 emails. We've got a last minute thing. Can you get this in within the next hour? It's the nature of the beast now. So it's really hard to do this with a 9 to 5. You'll find more success doing some narration, some things that you can put off later in the day. If you really want to do promos, work yourself to the position that you can let go of that job, or maybe work that job at night, or a job that you're working at home and you can take some time and, jump into the studio and then put on your everyday guy hat. All right. You're welcome, Heath. Ferris. So I know one of the best practices for video is reading aloud every day. I was going to talk about that today. I forgot. What happens when you get to a point where you're just dry line reading or kind of autopilot? Is that kind of a good point in which you should stop that exercise, or just maybe take a break, maybe switch to a different copy, script, books? Reason I ask is very occasionally after 2-3 hours of reading aloud, this happens almost solely with books, that can happen to me. Now, my question would be, are you reading those books out loud because you're an audiobook narrator, Ferris? Or are you practicing reading? And one of the things, I've got the note right here. One of the things I was going to mention today is sometimes we have to back up and improve our very basic skills. And one of our very basic skills that you must have is the ability to read. And not just read, but read out loud. And if you're a slow reader, the only way you're going to get better is to read out loud. But I don't think reading for 2 or 3 hours is the way to do that. Unless you're really just enjoying the information. And this is something that you would do anyway. I would cut down to, 15, 20 minutes. If you do that every day, you're going to improve your reading and change up some of the things you're reading. So read a history book for about 15 minutes, then a medical book for 15 minutes, or comic book, newspaper, magazine, whatever. But read something out loud every day. Now, if you're working every day, that you're getting it in. But say you want to do medical narration, then maybe now is the time to start looking at those medical books and learning those terms, and listening to, I would go on YouTube. I have no desire to do medical narration, though my father was a doctor, my sister's a doctor, I got a niece that's a doctor, but I would go to YouTube and find things medical and listen, so that I'm hearing and getting the pronunciations in my mouth. But yeah, you want to read out loud a little bit to practice every day, but you don't. 2-3 hours, I think, is overdoing it. Thanks for settling that setting that straight. Okay, here's a question. Have you ever winced when you were offered scale by a hand client? You agree, then your agent gets involved and gets double scale. Could that ruin your relationship with who hired you? Well, that depends on the person. There was a gig that you and I were involved in that you were fighting to get more money as the director for us, and the thing went away, and then it came back to me. I don't remember. I don't think you were directing it after that. Came back to me, and they did pay double scale. But this business is funny. Things come and go. Sometimes you've got a gig that they thought they were hiring somebody else and that didn't work, or they thought they were working with the director and that didn't work out, or this production company, that didn't work out, and things change. If it's a person that's holds a grudge, maybe thinks you did something underhanded, yeah, maybe that might ruin your relationship with that client. But if you've worked with that client a lot and you've been you and straight up and honest, I don't think they should be that upset. I don't think they should hold that against you. Now, just because a human being shouldn't do something doesn't mean they won't. We are the strangest creature on the planet, and there's no accounting for what we will do. Everybody would love to do promo and trailer. I've done some trailer, a lot of promo. And yeah, it's good duty. Chris McCann, in the day, are indie. Whoa, where'd I lose you? Oh, there you go. In the day, are indie developers now the bread and butter jobs as opposed to the big guys, Blizzard, Bethesda? I would say no. But there are a lot of indie developers out there. And a certain amount of my work, a decent percentage of my work comes from those indie developers. Blizzard's only working on so many games. Or the big guys are only working on so many games. There's only so many huge companies out there that are doing these monster titles. There are a lot more indie companies out there. And I'd say, I don't know, about 50-50, maybe. I'm not the guy that does let's see, let me break this down and see where all my work is coming from. That's not particularly how I operate, but I do know, just feeling it, that about half of my game work comes from indie developers and the other half from the Blizzards and Bethesdas of the world. Now, my question would be, why are you asking that question? And think about that. Duda Bulgara. Hi, Dave. Watching you here in Brazil. Do Brasil. Tudo bem. Big fan. Thanks for sharing. It is my pleasure. Love your country. Well, a little funky right now with the new president, but hey, we're experiencing that ourselves. Chris Lewis, I read the blurbs on the back of my graphic novel collection aloud some time to keep me sharp. You know what? When I was a kid, my mother made me read the signs on buildings as we drove by, the billboards, the signs, the whatever there was to read it and read it out loud. I know she didn't know she was preparing me for a voiceover career, but she just wanted me to be able to read. Dave Crockett. Hey, Dave. Great first name. Yeah, we Daves have to stick together. Chris Lewis killed him a bear when he was only 3. Oh, sorry he had to do it. Oh, thank you, Angela. Very kind. Pamela, what's going on? Well, you know what? We're about at 6:52. I think I've run out of questions there. Couple of reminders. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. I'd like to say right here, but no. It's on GoToWebinar, and I will post tomorrow again on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. I'll do another little video and have the link there. If you haven't signed up and you want to, you may. It is absolutely free. And we're going to cover how to read copy, which we had a couple of questions about that. I'll mention some of the exercises, some of the assignments I give students to get to themselves, to find themselves. We'll be talking about TV promos, one of the most lucrative areas of voiceover, and narration, which is also very lucrative these days because there's so many areas of narration that you can involve yourself in. And, of course, video games. So that will do that. Wait a minute. Got a couple other things. Chris, I did want to. The Blizzard. The reason I'm asking is, should I be focusing my energy on the smaller guys or the bigger guys? Focus your energy on being a really good actor for video games, Chris. And auditioned. I don't even look at, this is a Blizzard game. I'm doing this big game. I focus on the character and getting each individual job, doing the best job I can with each character. My first thing isn't, this is a big game and this is a big company. It's, this is an interesting character. Let me be that character, and let it all come. Let it all come. And the companies that are big now, Telltale 5 years ago, who would have thought they'd be gone? But they're gone. And I think the biggest games and some of the best games out there, we haven't seen yet. And they're going to come from somebody that's in school now or somebody that's working for one of these game companies now, whether big or small, that's going to go out on their own and come up with something, some idea, some story, some new technology that's going to blow us all away. Okay. Thanks, Michael. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Linda. How about some homework for tomorrow? I'm not going to give you homework now, but there'll be some copy for us to look at, but you're going to have to look at it then. Chris, thanks for this, Dave. Hopefully you're taking folks to do so. I'll get to read for you tomorrow, and thanks for that too. Oh, you're welcome. Well, that wraps it up. Once again, Ask Dave Fennoy Anything, another Wednesday come and gone, and I will see you next Wednesday, and hopefully see some of you tomorrow on GoToWebinar.